Hi, welcome to episode 7 of The Kitchen Sink, my weekly vlog. I'm Eric J. Barkman, and I just saw Iron Man 3 on Friday. First of all, I just want to say that I don't plan on spoiling the movie for those of you who haven't seen it yet. Though I'd recommend going and checking it out pretty soon. It's an awesome movie. In my opinion, it is the best of the Iron Man movies. Second best overall for the MCU, only being beaten out by the Avengers, which, let's be honest, it's pretty hard to top the Avengers. Yeah, this one definitely had a different style than the first two Iron Man movies, which isn't too surprising. It was a new director, Shane Black, replacing Jon Favreau. You definitely recognize it in things like the storytelling and the action. The humor, I would say, while there were some differences, it was still fairly close. I mean, a lot of the humor is just, from Robert Downey Jr. being Robert Downey Jr. And it doesn't matter if, the director is Shane Black, Jon Favreau, Joss Whedon. It's that Robert Downey Jr. is just going to come through. But, like I was saying, for the action, it was, there was a lot more going on in the action scenes, sometimes, which I'd say overall worked. I had a few complaints with how fragile the armors seemed in a lot of the scenes, but I also understand why that is, because whereas in the other two movies you have, four armors in the three armors in the first one, four if you count, three Iron Man armors and then the Ironmonger. The second one had similar amount of armors. This one has a lot more. He's up to the Mark 42 as his main armor. I'm not gonna. I guess I'm not gonna go to spoilers, but so the thing is, because you have more armors, you want to use the armors, so you need to, have them break down here and there to explain why he's using more than one. Can't really go into much more detail than that without letting out some spoilers. Want to drink a game? Take a shot every time I say the word spoilers. There's another one. Yeah, I also mentioned how the storytelling was different. The first two, it's a lot more, I don't really want to say basic, because that kind of sounds bad, which I wouldn't say it's bad, it's just, this one, a lot of stuff was more subtle. Stuff didn't get spelled out nearly as much. I don't say that the first two were, everything was kind of in your face, but it just, this one, like I said, it didn't spell things out quite as much or whatever, and yeah. Not really quite sure how to explain it better than that, but there you have it. That's kind of my thoughts on the movie. So, speaking of the MCU, one thing that I forgot to mention last week is that Joss Whedon has recently said he's planning on including a certain brother-sister duo in the second Avengers movie. I don't know about you, but when I think brother-sister duo in the Avengers, my thoughts immediately go to Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, as I'm sure many of yours do. You may be saying, but aren't they mutants? Not to mention Magneto's kids? Shouldn't the movie rights to them be over at Fox, along with the rest of the X-Men rights? Well, interesting thing. Because of their interesting situation where they're both Magneto's kids, but also longtime Avengers members, both Marvel Studios and Fox can actually use them in their movies. So, they'll have to avoid mentioning that they're Magneto's kids, obviously, but other than that, it's fair game. So, expect to see them in a couple of years. As for who will be playing them, no idea. Personally, I'd like to see James Marsters as Quicksilver, as I think he'd be good at, playing a cocky character with bleached hair, like he did on Buffy where he played Spike. I mean, yeah, Quicksilver doesn't have bleached hair, he just has it's completely white hair, but rather than, the bleached blonde hair that Spike had. But it's still, he looks the part, and similar character to Spike, I think he'd be a good choice. For Scarlet Witch, my number one choice is Felicia Day, because, can never get enough Felicia Day. And, yeah. Of course, I also have hope that eventually Marvel will get the X-Men rights back, so then they could have, storyline somewhere down the line in, like, phase 4, 5, 6 that does explore, their parentage and being kids and such. Personally, I'm thinking Disney's planning on buying Fox eventually anyway. Get back the rights to Fantastic Four and X-Men. Give Joss Whedon his series back that, are owned by Fox. Win-win. Well, that's about it for this episode. It's been mostly, MCU stuff. Not really much to report on my projects. I mean, they're being worked on, they're coming along, just nothing to really report at the moment. So yeah, tell me what you think of this episode. Like the video if you like it, dislike it if you don't, talk in the comments, subscribe, whatever, and have fun.